Okay, you're live.
Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners meeting for September 7th. Would you all please rise and state the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, gentlemen, the first thing we have are our minutes. Do we have any additions, corrections?
No, I don't think so.
They look good to me.
I
Okay,
move we accept the minutes of regular meeting August 31st and the work session August 30th.
I'll second it.
okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the proceedings of the Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, August 30th and August 31st. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the next thing we have is planning. Mr. Haley.
Yeah, it's today.
Okay, so we're in our first public hearing, so Kim, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Candelaria,
Here?
Commissioner Lindsay,
Here.
Commissioner Stevenson,
Here.
Administrator Powers,
Here.
Attorney McLaren,
Here.
and Kim Purcell, Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing for review and determination of a proposed single lot development in AR 3-9 rezoning application submitted by Jimmy G. Suckla on property located at 12588 Road 23, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 49.37 acres more or less, located east of Road 23, west of Highway 491, situated in Section 9, Township 36 North, Range 16 West, N.M.P.M. The hearing will be held Tuesday, September 7th, 2021 at 9 a.m. Commissioners' Hearing Room, Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Cortez, Colorado. Interested persons may attend and give input. Information may be obtained from the Planning Office online service at https://co-montezuma-co.smartgovcommunity.com. Public home. You may also contact the Planning Department at 970-565-2801 with questions. Dated the 16th day of August, 2021. Kim Purcell, Clerk, Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, Colorado. Published in the Journal on Wednesday, August 25th, 2021.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Don, you want to give us an overview?
With this application, we have recently found out that the property was actually in two parcels. So we're gonna have to continue this to a date to be determined until the survey work can be completed for the entire property.
Okay.
So we'd like to request it to be continued.
To what date?
We don't want to pick a date. The surveyors are from New Mexico, and would like to make sure that they get everything done and recorded properly prior to moving forward. So we'll just leave it open-ended and get that rescheduled.
Okay. I see
Have you
that
talked to Jimmy about that?
Mr.
or-
Suckla,
Yes.
you were here? I'm sorry?
We did talk to them.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah,
So-
we gave them two options, and they're going with the most reasonable option, but
So
it'll
we'll
just
just
take a
go
little time.
TBD, continued TBD, and then you'll
Right,
just...
yeah, because
get
I
it
hate
on
to
the
set a
schedule.
date and then the surveyor can't get it squared away, and then we have to continue it again, so. I don't know,
Okay.
Ian,
Do you
What's-
understand that, Jimmy, or?
what's the best
You
course,
can Come up
Ian?
and set up here if you want.
Yeah, I think we just leave it open-ended at this point and then get a date set once we have some definitive answers.
What was the question, Joe?
Do you understand that there was two deeds to the, or two separate parcels on your place out
Well,
there?
I think when Terry bought it in, I don't know when, he bought the first part of that, and then he bought the 17 point some acres or 18 acres on the backside at a later date. But I get all my taxes and stuff all in one deal from the, so I don't really know what's going on.
The
The-
assessor's office says that if you can have two different parcels and have one tax bill and it'll show up on the map as one piece, but it's actually two pieces of property.
So the back, like where that canal is that's separate? So you're just wanting to make it all inclusive into a 40.8 acres? So that's one piece and the 8.3 are two pieces instead of three separate pieces?
It'll all be consolidated, and then we'll continue on with the single lot development.
Okay,
Okay.
I got it.
Julie, you had a question. You want to come forward and, yeah, because it's basically for the people out there that can't hear you. What are you?
My name's Julie Suckla. My name's Julie Suckla. Do I need to give my address? Okay.
Please.
13657 Road 21 in Cortez.
Okay.
So the surveyor said it would be no problem to combine the two lots and resubmit it that way. So it won't be held up for that reason unless there's something else they have to go through the county.
So I think this sounds relatively simple to me, is all we're going to do is combine everything, and then it's going to be split into just two lots,
Yeah.
instead of leaving,
It'll be a
Single lot development
just
with a
like-
balance 48.
okay,
You're creating 8.3 and then 40.8.
will be left. Because right now, it's that 17 or whatever is individualized.
17 and 23.
Otherwise, it'd be a 17, and then it would be a two-lot minor with the 8 acres and 31 acres.
41, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That
So
makes-
once that technicality is taken care of, it'll be exactly as it was proposed for the
Yeah,
public hearing.
and then we don't have to re-advertise it at all, because it's just, this is a continuation. We don't have to go through that process. We'll just put it at a to-be-determined date once the survey is completed, and then you'll be back in here, and it should be a very simple process.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Otherwise,
Okay.
we'd have to go back to P and Z as a two-lot minor and start all over.
And I chatted with Don about this. I think this is the best and easiest way to move forward, because this is really what the proposal was. We just had this piece sitting out there that
Correct.
needs to be dealt with.
So, as soon as the survey is completed, then it just comes back in. So to not wait on their time frame, we won't put a date on it.
Yeah.
So would one of you gentlemen move that forward?
I would move that we continue this application for the proposed single lot development for Jimmy G. Suckla on a to-be-determined date.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded for a continuation of the proposed single lot development and AR 3-9 rezoning application submitted by Jimmy G. Suckla on property located at 12588 Road 23. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, when you.
And I will close the public hearing.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys. We got a minute.
We got another document.
Okay.
We can drop down to item 1 for the amendment of the high-impact permit for Dave and Lana Waters
Okay.
for DNL Construction.
Yep.
That was motioned and approved to not go through the process, and we now have that document ready for
So you just need
signature.
signatures.
Mhm.
You have 'em? We can come down and sign that.
All three have to sign that.
Outside of Santa Fe. I've never been there. Huh. eyes are all full of sulfur. Huh. Cool. Never been. Did you get pictures?
Thank you, Kim.
Okay, so it is 9:10, and we can go ahead and move forward with the next public hearing. Kim, would you go ahead and call the roll, please?
Commissioner Candelaria.
Here.
Commissioner Lindsey.
Here.
Commissioner Stevenson.
Here.
Administrator Powers.
Here.
Attorney McLaren.
Here.
And Kim Purcell, Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing for review and determination of a proposed subdivision amendment application submitted by Justin and Erin Schmitt, Agent Julie Suckla, on property located at 13657 Road 21, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 6.63 acres more or less, located south of Road P and west of Road 21, situated in Section 1, Township 36 North, Range 17 West, N.M.P.M. The hearing will be held Tuesday, September 7th, 2021 at 9:10 a.m. Commissioners' Hearing Room, Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Cortez, Colorado. Interested persons may attend and give input. Information may be obtained from the Planning Office online services at https://co-montezuma-co.smartgovcommunity.com public home. You may also contact the Planning Department at 970-565-2801 with questions. Dated the 16th day of August 2021, Kim Purcell, Clerk, Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, Colorado, published in the Journal on Wednesday, August 25th, 2021.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Don, you want to go ahead and give us an overview? And Julie, you want to come forward?
There is one change on this one. The owners are now the Sucklas and not the Schmitts as of last week. So now the agent's the owner, so it's all flowing together. This is just a boundary line adjustment, but because it's a single lot development, it's going through the subdivision process. So they're just adjusting the south property line to encompass the driveway that for some reason wasn't encompassed in the first go-around.
I read your application. I had to get I had a big smile on my face when you said it's just a common sense solution. I'm like, gosh, common sense would have been to do it right the first time. But it seems like we're dealing with a lot of that. People are not getting their driveways into their proper lots, and it's a.
Well, this has two other driveways to it, but they wanted that one for the ag access for some reason.
So.
So now it's.
Anyway, go ahead.
Now they're just changing it the way they want it, so that, because they own it.
I don't have anything to add. It's
Just a
pretty simple.
boundary line adjustment.
Yeah. Okay.
I would move that we accept this. Oh, sorry about that.
No, I was looking, do you have any?
No,
do you
I
have
don't.
any question?
You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
So, all right.
I would move that
No,
we.
whoa.
Oh, also that,
can only s-
also that future easement is being abandoned.
The one on the north?
Yes.
Or I assume that's the
Right.
north?
Yeah.
That, I can't read that, but 60 feet. So I'll open this meeting up for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this single lot development, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes to address the board. Okay, seeing no public comment, I'll close this
Strike two, Joel.
public
I
comment.
don't know, hey, guys.
So now I
There's
will
no
bring it,
common sense in that whatsoever.
I will bring it back to the commissioners. Mr. Stevenson.
Now,
May I?
You may.
I would move that we accept this proposed subdivision amendment application submitted by, I guess, Larry Don and Julie Suckla now on property located at 13657 Road 21, Cortez, Colorado.
second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the proposed subdivision amendment application submitted by Larry Don and Julie Suckla agent on property located at 13657 Road 21, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 6.63 acres more or less. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I'll
Thank you.
close this public hearing.
Thank you.
Joel's ready to go today.
Well, you said we could be out of here by 10:30, and I'm gonna help you.
He's gonna move it right
Okay,
along.
Done.
So without hesitation,
Number we can
Snap
move
it up
to,
there.
item number 2, we have a boundary line adjustment and rezoning application for between the Wayans and the Fords on property at 16323 Road 20, Cortez. Shaq, you want to scroll to the plat? They are doing a boundary line adjustment on the north end of the Ford's property. It's kind of hard to see at the middle there where it says original property. At the end of the top arrow was where the property line was.
this is where it encompassed the trailer in halfway in the,
Right, and so they're moving that north property line up to the north, so it extends well beyond the existing shed that's there.
which is the .59 acres that they're purchasing to get that done.
Correct.
Got it.
And there's a non-opposition letter signed by the Wayans. They are in the process. It's under contract to be sold. And there's also a non-opposition letter. Oh, never mind. Boundary line adjustment, we don't need to worry about that. So anyway, that's all it is they're just moving the property line to the north to encompass the shed and some other area that was part of the old farm.
All right.
But we do need to add into the motion, if you move to approve it, that it's also rezoning.
Question? Comments?
No.
Okay.
I would move that we accept this boundary line adjustment with the rezoning submitted by Paul and Dana Wyan on property located at 16323 Road 20, Cortez, Colorado.
You're gonna have to second this. Because the lady that works for me is named in this.
Okay, so I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded to accept the boundary line adjustment with rezoning submitted by Paul and Dana Wayan on the property located at 16323 Road 20, Cortez, Colorado. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And so just so we have a clear record, Mr. Lindsay, are you,
Yeah, I'm
abstain.
recusing myself. Lady that works for me, keeps my books, is named in this one and also the following one.
Okay. All right, item 3, Don.
So item 3 is a variance request by the Fords concerning the existing shed, same property on the north end. The boundary line adjustment takes care of the north end of the existing shed right there, shack. But the west side still is less than the 30-foot setback required. They're requesting a 5-foot setback at that location. And then at the bottom south edge of their property, there's an existing mobile home that is 6 foot from the south property line, and they're requesting a 6-foot setback on that.
So we have 5-foot setbacks for the south and the west.
It would be 5 foot on the west for the shed, barn, shop, and it would be 6 foot for the mobile on the south. This is the one we have non-opposition letters from both the current owner and the future owner. This was all part of the Leonard's farm. If you'll remember last week, we did an out-to-the-fact exemption to come get this piece of property compliant, so pretty much everything that it has and how it was created was all wrong.
We're just cleaning
So we're
house.
just trying to get it all squared away. It's all existing from the late 70s, early 80s.
Question?
I don't.
Okay.
I would move that we accept this variance submitted by Michael and Regina Ford on the property located at 16389 Cortez, Colorado.
Second. It has been moved and seconded to accept the variance submitted by Michael and Regina Ford on property located at 16389 Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 1.37 acres, more or less, with a 5-foot variance to the west, 6-foot variance to the south. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I find that. I find that.
And Commissioner Lindsay also recused himself from that. Okay.
Thank you. Now we just need signatures.
Okay. Okay,
That's all we got,
is
unless
that
you...
it?
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet. I like that. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
well, thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we will move on to our public comment. Board of County Commissioners welcomes you to this meeting. Person speaking during the public comment will be limited to 3 minutes, or depending on the number of people wishing to speak, it may be reduced to allow all members of the public the opportunity to address the board. When addressing the board, please state your name and address for the record prior to providing your comments. Comments to individual supervisors or staff are not permitted, and participants may not yield their time. So at this time, the public comment session is open.
Good morning.
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 Alan Mays, 21693 County Road 21 in Lewis. I want to thank the commissioners always for giving us the opportunity to speak. 3 minutes is definitely not long enough for items that would like to cover, so I'm going to be brief, just touching on them, basically giving you my thoughts on items that I feel are pretty important. First off, and only because I've been hearing about it, the town of Dolores and their resolution for supporting a 30 by 30 resolution. I know you guys are all aware of it, but just giving my 2 cents. The town of Dolores doesn't realize the impact that it's doing to their neighbors. Signing a resolution doesn't affect them hardly at all. It's the community that that is impacted by 30 by 30. And it's something that hopefully, if you have any input to them, maybe you can make them understand a little bit more about what 30 by 30 is. So if someone commented to me, if they're willing to expand their 30% inside the city-town limits, then maybe they can get a little bit of skin in the game. But really, it's the agricultural people that get impacted by 30 by 30 and the amount of land that we as farmers and ranchers are already dedicating to conservation in lots of different ways. So just that point. Another one is redistricting. I need, the county commissioners have probably seen the new congressional map that was done by their staff. And so CD3 is the one that's impacted. We need to look at it from the state of Colorado perspective. Again, rural communities are losing their voices. If CD3 map stays as it's shown now, we'll be directed by, when I say we, the rural part of Colorado will be ruled by Denver. And if CD3 map that is proposed now stays the same, we'll likely get a Democrat elected to that. I mean, and when I say that, Carrie Donovan is definitely someone that's looking at it, and she was the one who gave us the wolf, so we need to be thinking about that. I hope that calmer and common sense minds will look into the new map. From Craig to Cortez, Montezuma County, we're rural, and that's where CD3 needs to be looked at, not those ski towns. So that's just one more thing. I am testifying tomorrow. I hope you guys are putting your name in to do some things. It's all virtual and it's short. The other is just going to be the worries that we have in Montezuma County due to overreach of government and everything that we see and do. But this vaccination thing I know is impacting our health department, or should be. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Alan.
Next.
Good morning. I think this doesn't sound like it's on, but I guess it is. Sorry. My name is Susan Kimnitz. I live at 511 South Cedar Street in Cortez. And I just wanted to talk about the new CDH PHE mandate for medical personnel to get the vaccine. Now, this is not only unconstitutional, but it's just unethical. These people in the medical community have really worked hard to save lives all the time that this vaccine, or that COVID-19 was around. And this is just a way for the government to push at people and see if we acquiesce to their little mandates. This is just wrong. We shouldn't be doing this. People have a right to decide their medical issues and whether they need to get a vaccine or not. This is going to cause a lot of trouble because people are not wanting to get the vaccine are going to be forced out of their jobs, and that's wrong. These people stood up for us this whole time. And the thing is, this is just more fear-mongering. What's wrong with this? All the time that the flu has been here for over 100 years, nobody was wearing masks. No one was forced to stay home. No one was forced to get a vaccine. So anybody that says that we need to do it for COVID-19, when the flu is still killing 80,000 people in the United States a year. Keep yourself healthy and trust that your immune system will do what it's supposed to, and give us a chance to get natural immunity, because that's the only thing that's going to help. None of the stuff that they're doing is helping at all. It's just hurting our economy and hurting our people. Please stand up against this. And also, please stand up against the land grab, because, like Alan said, this is wrong also. We need that land to stay in agriculture. We need our farmers and our ranchers to be able to produce enough food to feed all of our people. We have enough poverty and people who don't have enough to eat now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Okay. We'll close the public comment session and we will move on. Public Works. You are first, Mr. Rob.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Smile. How are you?
Well,
Okay.
thank
Jack's got it up. The first order of business is our monthly go-do list for the month of September. So we're completing chip seal. That's in the green at the front of the month here. Actually, we're finishing it today. We should wrap everything up on Road 31 in Dolores today and be done with that. And a couple, 3 days of brooming, maybe one more day next week, and that'll all be done for the year and put to bed and ready to go again next year, I hope. Shoulder work will start later this week. We've got some washouts we need to fix first with the trucks. We've been fighting washouts the whole time we're chip sealing. It's been very busy the last 3 weeks cleaning up roads while we chip seal with a small crew, so we've got some catch up to do on some of those areas. Mostly out in the Lewis, Yellow Jacket area, but just generally around the county in general too, just different spots. So we'll start on that sometime late this week, early next week. That's all the asphalt roads we want to get done. That's 29, 30, Nancy and G, all need to be shouldered and done. They're all striped now, so all that's done, so we can go ahead and get in there and get the shouldering done. Touch up the driveway approaches and different things as we go by and clean them all up for the year. So that'll be this month. Dolores District and Memphis District, they get started this month around the 13th with their Schedule A Forest Service roads. And that's usually about a 3-week activity to get up there and get those blades up there and take care of our share of the road work on those. We also have to start work on the Alkali Bridge due to rattlesnake mitigation starting October 1st. We need to start the work so we can get out there and start clearing the oak brush back, establish our tow lines for the blasting. Probably will even blast this winter if we can make everything come together, and that at least technically starts the project, and we don't have to wait 4 months for the rattlesnakes to hibernate and then come back out in the spring. So that's going to be pretty important to us to get started on that by the end of the month. And I don't go there. I've already been there.
I've heard of the nesting bird in April, and I've dealt with that a lot in my life, but I've never heard of the rattlesnake in Alkali Creek.
I know.
But, okay, I get
There
it.
it
So,
is.
in other words, that's October 1st now?
Begins October 1st, yeah. So we have, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, we need to get started by the end of September, last day of September. And technically, we were going to do that work. We decided to pull that back out and do that work as part of our cost
In-kind
savings.
trade,
Mhm.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
so that works out. We do have a road alignment project coming up on Road 22. This is north of Road P. We've got a real sharp hairpin curve through one of those draws that the culvert is failing. It's a big 56-inch or a 60-inch culvert. So we've been working with Ernie to move the alignment of the road a little bit, take some of that curve out and put a new road across that little draw and reestablish an alignment there. The best way I can tell you is by Terry Pickens' place. That's the answer I've got for you. If you know where he lives, it's that little draw by his house. So we've been talking to Terry, who's the landowner there, about moving the easement over, and he's working with us on that, get that moved over and put a new road in and get that taken care of this fall. So
That's a pretty deep culvert too, right?
It is, and it's collapsing, so we have no choice but to go fix it, and we'd rather straighten that curve out of it a little bit and take care of it that way, which it works to the landowner's advantage too. It moves his property boundary to
He
his
owns on
advantage.
both sides of the road there.
He does, and that little strip of land on the east side is really of no value to him for grazing or anything else, so this moves the road over and creates more property for him. So we'll just, we did a drawing on it and went and visited with Terry, and everything looked good, and then we finally decided the best way to do this is just build it and do an as-built on it for final alignment, legal part, make it legal, so. And then, but Terry's working with us on the whole thing. So that project will come up this month and get it started. And then, of course, Alkali Creek, or the Montezuma down there, so. But those are the big ones for the month of September, so. Any questions?
Have we ever looked at, I mean, and those are drainages that are pretty significant drainages. Have we ever looked at like box culverts or something to where it's, I mean.
Yeah, sometimes we do. We looked at box culvert on Alkali Creek, but due to the restrictiveness of trees and trash and debris, we chose not to do
Went
that
back
one.
with the
Yeah.
bridge.
Yeah. And then this one that we're on 22 there, or 20, I guess it is. It's okay because it's just mostly irrigation culvert. It doesn't pick up a lot of drainage through flash flooding, maybe a little bit, but mostly it's irrigation, so it's controllable. So this one's okay for a culvert. But yeah, we do. We look at box culverts from time to time, or different types of culverts. Mm-hmm.
Okay, just curious.
No, we do. They're expensive, culverts are pretty easy to put in, so we lean towards those more often than not, so. And then sometimes, Jim, that's a good question, is we use those poly pipes instead,
Right.
for deterioration, alkali and things like that, but they're tricky out there on the road crossings because they have a tendency to pop up in the heat, and so they'll cause non-drainage issues, or a lot of times the residents will burn their ditches in the spring and they'll melt them culverts, so we lean away from them.
So you're just going back to with the CMP?
Right, so that's what we're doing in September. I want to visit with you this morning, Shaq's got it up now, about the shop in Mancus. Several months ago, we had a microburst come through and basically ripped the roof off of that old shed there on the left screen, left top. So we went to the insurance company and they sent us out an adjuster, and we got quotes, and we came up with a price around $15,000 to replace the roof. And that's the best the insurance company would do for us, is just to replace what was damaged. But the substructure under it was no good either. The wall had been knocked over the years and patched back together, equipment hit it, different things. So we went out for bid, and these pictures kind of show, if you look close, the condition of the structure in there. It's old creosote wood. The wood's actually not salvageable for much else, anything now with that creosote, but you can see a lot of broken timbers, and there's a lot of stuff going on with that structure. In the end, I just felt like maybe we need to discuss the idea of just taking it out. Then we just took it out because it was dangerous to even be in there. It just was getting to the point, it was old, it served its time. So flipping through these pictures, I wanted to kind of show you what the structure looked like. And then the last picture I got, I don't know, Shaq, did you get this one?
The last one I got wouldn't load for some reason.
Well, it's just
Is it-
basically what it looks like now. There's no structure.
I went over there
We
Thursday.
took care of it, yeah. And we did it for a good cause. We did it for a good reason, because for about $15,000 more out of our shop funds, we can put in a regular metal sloped roof building instead of a pitched roof, and having snow and water and ice coming down on the equipment, get it away from us, and something safe and something we can use. And that sand bunker there, we'll put those concrete blocks in like we did at Pleasant View. We'll go get those cheap blocks, stack them in there, and make that safe so they don't cave the walls in, and make those sand bunkers safe. So I got quotes. This one here. We went out, and this is to repair the roof. And so we got 5 contractors, 3 no response, 1 decline, and 1 positive. That's it. I mean, we do our best. We go out, we reach out, and we reach across the spectrum, and this is what we get back. So if you ask me, did you put it out for bid? Yeah, we did. We got this back at $14,375 to repair the roof. So we went back out again and said, let's talk about rebuilding the whole shed. So I went out with Jay one day and I said, Jay, if I furnish the beams, the iron and all that, can you put up a metal shed there instead of fixing that roof? And he came back with a price of $31,625 to do a new building with tin and metal I-beams and metal purlins and the whole works. Just build it right. So I'm here today to see if you guys will go with me on $31,625 just to build a new building. So, and that's with us participating in with materials, supplying some beams and all the materials that he would need for the substructure.
And what-
Because it's under 50,000, it does not have to be a sealed bid.
Correct, and that's part of the procurement policy, so that does comply with it. We actually had that conversation. My question is, because we've kicked around,
My answer is,
other.
yes, we'll do it again. I will do it if you want me to, but we're gonna get
No,
the
no,
same.
no, no, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the potential of looking elsewhere for that shop.
Oh, yeah, but I need a shop this winter. So I've got all that iron blades and all that equipment parked outside right now. We need to get that in if we
Yeah,
can.
so I guess that's where I was thinking. I'm not, that
Yeah.
actually, under the $50,000.
We're okay on
If
that
you
one.
have your solicited 5 bids, request 3 bids, I think is what it says.
Yeah.
So that's compliant. However, I was just thinking, are we really, is there any way we can move that elsewhere? I mean, or do we need to have this discussion accelerated to move it elsewhere to where we actually build you, I
Yeah, but
mean,
that's a 5-year plan. Buy the land, get the utilities, build a shop, and we need a $30,000 shed to park this equipment in, so. And it adds the value. I think it adds value to the property, getting rid of that old piece of junk and getting that
oh,
safety hazard out of there.
I
so.
don't discount getting rid
So-
of that, what you did.
So I think
that was
you have a
good
good
decision.
point, Jim. I just think that we need to move forward with some protection for that equipment this winter and not park it outside and
So
it just,
What do you store under there now?
pardon me,
What do you store under there?
blades, backhoe,
Just the
equipment.
Just the equipment?
Mhm.
Okay.
Dry sand.
So basically, your ask is for 16,000 over and above.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
because the insurance is gonna take care of the 14,300, whatever it was, and then we'll take another 16 out of our shop account to build the shed there.
It wasn't a whole lot.
No.
No,
They're taken care of. But that building that was there wasn't
no,
a whole lot.
no. That's why I said, fixing the roof is like ridiculous. This is stupid,
Yeah. The structure underneath it wouldn't support it.
Yeah, and we got a good foundation. At the time they built the shed, they did put a good stem wall around it, pillars. So we got to put in one new pillar, and then put the beams up and have it done in probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. If he has all the material on the ground, it'll be ready to go. So.
So this is just a structure. There's no power or anything going to it?
Well, there is power in there. We'll bring some power back in. We just pulled it back. Just took the conduit down and pulled it back. But it's already wired out to that area. We had lights in there for seeing what we was doing and get on and off equipment. And plugging in the blades. So we just took it and pulled it back.
So do you have a drawing?
Sure. Come by anytime. I'll draw one on the board for you.
Got it in your budget?
Yeah, I do have it in my
Yeah.
budget, yes. We have funds available.
Okay. Motion to approve his request.
I'll second it.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to allow the Montezuma County Road Department access to build a 60 by 32 by 12 single shop metal building with the additional funds of approximately 16.
What was it, Jack? 16,326?
16,500.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Now, pickups. With the
Oh, you just spent
ongoing
all your
pickup,
money, Diana.
excuse me?
You used up all your money.
No, this is a better deal. This is the ones that gets Jimmy all wound up, so. Since we're talking pickups and you can't get them, and I just heard on the news, and this ain't no BS, factories are shutting down, Chevrolet's shutting down, Ford's shutting down, can't make them. Why make them? If you can't ship them, you can't sell them. So there's no pickups. So we've got, talking to fleet, we have had a request from Dolores County to trade some gravel for an F-150 pickup. It is 63,000 miles on it. It's a 2014. It's in good shape for, I guess, that before it goes. It would go to Jim Spratlin, and the fleet would purchase it from us. If it's something you guys want to work towards, I can work towards that with Dolores County. So they would like to trade the value. What we usually do is we take a high-low from NADA and Blue Book, and we find an average, and we get a value, and then we trade that value of pickup for that value of gravel. And then I don't particularly need the pickup in the fleet department, in the road department, but they do need one for Jim, and that vehicle he's driving is like 240,000 miles on it or some number like that. And this is a Band-Aid stopgap for now, till something else can be done. So we're willing to work with that if we can make the arrangements right to come from road department to fleet by purchasing it out of fleet or whatever, back to the road department, or from the road department. So if you want to do something like that, we're available to it.
What, do you have an estimated value?
21,000 plus or minus is what the NADA and the Blue Book says for average good. Not poor, not excellent, but
Right.
down the middle.
Right. I didn't know that Spratlin was needing another one. So this is new.
Gas has gone down a couple of times, and some of the parts Shane's not able to get anymore.
This is what, is it an Expedition? Is that right? I can't remember what Shane told me. It was.
He has a Tahoe.
Or Tahoe, maybe.
He has a Tahoe.
But it's an
So,
old one with like 200.
I guess the conversation that we all had last week while we were out there discussing all these fleet vehicles, and there are 19, if I remember right, that are not being used at all. Or I shouldn't say that. I should say that they're being used 5,000 miles or less. So is it still Shane's evaluation that we need to move those vehicles out? A percentage of them that we were talking about the other day? Is there something that we can utilize from there before we go gain another vehicle? Because we just had this conversation last week when we were sitting there.
Yeah, I know.
We had
That's why I
3
knew you would
different
like this
categories
conversation, so.
that he had highlighted. So I guess I question why we're taking in a trade if we have
'Cause we got
19
other
vehicles
we
that
got
are
other
already,
vehicles
that
that need to
we're
trade,
not
you know,
using,
so.
that are less than 5,000 miles. It doesn't make sense to add another one. So before I would, I
Probably
think,
don't talk Shane.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I do too.
I just want to add to the conversation, though, that we were slated to buy a bunch of vehicles and then put some out to auction, but buying vehicles just couldn't happen.
I understand that, which is part of the conversation that we were having
So
the
maybe
other
I'll
day
pull
when we
Jim
were
out of the
looking at that.
conversation and put enough in there. There's enough need now that we're back to looking at used vehicles to fill some needs that are,
So-
but you're right about the other
Let's-
conversation, so.
I think, can we postpone
Yeah.
this a week so that we can finish that conversation? I know we were out there a
Absolutely.
couple hours the other day,
Mhm.
and he didn't have those specific to where they were being utilized, but here again, we were just talking about, we pay insurance, we pay
Yeah.
maintenance on them, we pay all of these costs, and they sit there and they're used less than 5,000 miles a year. I don't think it's
I think it's a fair
responsible
question.
to
I
add
think
another
it's fair.
vehicle. I
Yeah.
think we pick from there, unless they're at 150,000 miles, and then obviously I don't want to do that to our emergency manager either. I mean,
No, I agree.
I think maybe we should look at that just a little more.
I agree.
Before we-
I knew this conversation would go this direction, so
Well,
I
I'm just-
wanted to get the discussion out there though, so, you know.
And that's fine. I mean, looking at those, when we were looking at that sheet, he has 3 different color codes, and if you look at those codes, it's hard for me to buy another vehicle, even though I don't have an issue with it being traded with Dolores County. I think that's a good way to do that, is to barter. However, why do we need it? And do we need it and bring it in and get rid of 2 others? I'm okay with that
Well,
too. I'm just saying.
we could trade it within the road department too. I was
Let's-
just trying to help Jim, because I know his is
Sure,
on this last
and I do
leg, so,
too,
yeah,
and I'm not
so.
trying to, that's not the conversation.
No, I know.
I'm not trying to hurt him, I'm just saying, I'm looking at the fleet in general, and why do we have so many vehicles that are sitting there not being used? 5,000 miles a year is not, you really have to question, do we need it or do we not need it?
I think it's gonna come down to, it's gonna be something you have to decide with these other ideas, you know, because you know where that conversation's gonna go, so. In the meantime, he needs to do something to get Jim in something that's dependable. And this was a quick gap way of doing it, so
Correct.
that's
So
where I sit.
that- I'll let you other commissioners
Well, I
speak
think
your
we're gonna
mind.
have to start looking at more used vehicles, and if we can find good used vehicles and rotate something out, because we're not gonna get any new vehicles, I
No.
don't look like, for a year or two.
No, I don't think so either. It was a quick way to
Get a good used one
fix a
and
problem.
rotate some old
Yeah, and I
other
don't,
stuff out.
like I said, but when we have, I want to say it was 19, right? Or 20?
It was well, I don't know about that. I don't want to say, because I don't know. I wouldn't,
I,
I don't remember.
I don't have it in front of me.
I don't either, so I don't want to say.
And if you can buy a used vehicle for the Blue Book on it, you're doing pretty good, because they're getting about 40% over Blue Book on all these used vehicles right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Well, I don't think a week to reevaluate this
Doesn't,
is
doesn't
gonna
hurt my
with
feelings at
Dolores
all. I just
County.
wanted to get the conversation out there. So you can discuss it with Shane, and I'll discuss it some more, and maybe there's a different reason. And I just know that the vehicle Jim's in is on its last wheels, so it's time. So if we
And I
don't make something
understand
move
that. We'll-
quicker than that.
We'll get him
well,
into a
yeah.
vehicle that
Mhm.
is dependable, and we can get rid of
Yeah,
that one.
so-
Absolutely, I understand that.
Okay, moving on, then I'll talk to Shane about that. Root and Ratcliffe, I know we discussed this a few weeks ago. We finally got one that's really signed this time. So I want to bring it in again as part of our meeting now. I don't know if we got that accomplished in the last meeting, because I did not leave nothing here, it wasn't signed. So if I don't need to do that this time, Kim, I'll take it with me. But this, you got a copy of this one now, the signed one.
And it's the resolution?
No, it's the agreement, the culverts, that we don't take care of their pipe crossings.
Right, the one
So-
that you had me recorded?
Yes.
Yep, it's in.
Okay, so it's recorded to the meeting then. That was the main thing. Because these, long story short, these things get lost. 10, 15 years down the road, somebody will forget the deal was made, and there won't be any record of it at the road department. It'll be lost in some file cabinet. And I want to make sure this gets, because of the lawsuits with everybody and everything that went on, I want this recorded for those purposes, so.
So, just for clarification, I do have it recorded across the street. Did you want it also included in the minutes of the
Yes.
meeting?
Yes, 'cause
So
a lot
I'll
of-
get it out of your box.
A lot of times, that's
And
how
I
we
think,
find them.
in
so.
general, just so that it's stated,
Yes.
what this does for this project is that irrigation company, or not necessarily a company, but that ditch, they are responsible for every crossing of our county road and every culvert for repair and maintenance of their culverts.
Just-
And then to replace back our county road,
Not
correct?
culverts, they're
Or
direct
crossings.
buried pipeline, pressure pipe.
Yeah.
So where they crossed the road, they took ownership of it forever, maintenance or repair or replace.
Right.
Took that out of our side of the fence, which is fair, because we could have let them, we would have asked them to put culvert sleeves in, so we could get them pipes out if we had to. They chose not to for cost savings. It was a good deal for them too, to take that ownership. I just want to make sure it doesn't get lost in the melee, because
Yeah.
it does. So, that's all, so.
And the other thing we need in the minutes is, I let the commissioners know last week in their favor of, I don't think my mic's on, but the road department pursuing the energy impact grants, that has to be recorded in the minutes also.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Alkali Creek, we got all of our soil samples taken. They're currently in engineering and studying the options of repair and get that embankment done, or whatever they're gonna do. I can't tell you where we're at with that today. I have a meeting with SEH tomorrow to discuss some of these ideas. Hopefully they're coming out of this. So hopefully by the next time you see me or before then, we'll have a clear, undefined way of fixing it, you know? Somewhere, some way, we've got to get this banked up through the winter. So even if
And-
it's a temporary embankment to do something bigger and worse later on. But I will have that hopefully by the next week or two, now that we've got all the information. So we are done down there gathering information, so.
And Rob, Heather put me in contact with her person at CDOT that's working with the pilot program to get the exemptions they've got for their bridge. And I emailed him, but I got an automatic reply that he was out of the office.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I haven't let that drop. He's just out
I
of
think
the
I said
office
Alkali
for-
Creek, I'm talking about Campbell.
You're-
Yeah, I'm sorry,
I-
excuse
I know
me.
where you're at.
Alkali Creek, we're moving forward. We already talked about that. Rattlesnakes, I'm sorry.
Rattlesnakes,
Yeah.
Alkali Creek.
I didn't
No,
even know
I was
rattlesnakes were on a
tracking.
list.
Yeah, so McCampbell.
Well,
I
they're on
meant
a
McCampbell.
list, but not the,
Yeah. Sorry about that. DOLA, we did apply for another DOLA application. We got that turned in last week for 4.3 miles of road Y and 16 at Yellow Jacket. We remember last spring, we went in and ground up those 4 miles of road and have been working on replacing soft spots. This job basically will entail a lot of culverts. We have a lot of culverts that need raised and graded, regraded, and put back in. And then gravel and chip seal. We'll have the soft spots fixed already. So the job isn't a real big job by DOLA standards. But we also threw Road S, Hay Camp Road in there to do a combination of chip seal 3-layer and asphalt through some of the worst curves on the hill. Used asphalt 4 inches thick. So that will be part of this DOLA grant too. So we have applied for all that, to fix all that next year. So just letting you know, we did get that turned in okay, and then Shaq, you said you made a note of that in the meeting minutes. So there we are.
Okay.
So it's all done.
Very good.
So hopefully, cross your fingers, we'll go see the committee again this year.
It is
That-
going to be super competitive because not the extraction tax, the severance taxes were down a lot last year, so.
And specifically in
It's
our
going
area.
to be a
but-
super competitive grant, but so far every year, Rob's been very successful in bringing it home.
And
so.
those will come up in October again?
Yeah,
Probably.
sometime, yeah. We like to do them in the fall so we can have all winter to get ready for them. So,
So will they be, or we don't even know where they're at this year?
no.
Will they be?
I know that it's, they changed the rules a little bit for what you're allowed to go in on the Schedule 1 or Schedule 2, and we're on Schedule 2 still. So, but with Hay Camp, absolutely, it's the cost of that one now. But this actually does pretty much wrap up our DOLA projects and our DOLA goals that started 5 years ago. And, you know, that's all of Goodman Point, all of Pleasant View. Now we're finishing Yellow Jacket hopefully this year and throwing a Hay Camp in with it. That takes care of all the Kinder Morgan work that's been going on out there for 30-some years. So it's been a good program. It's been working very well for us. And McCalmo too. We fixed 5 miles of that under the DOLA grant. So it's been a good deal for us. So we hope this is all successful and we're done. And we are done with Pleasant View, and we got to do a little bit of light brooming out there, but that 4.7 miles of Road 10 is complete. So we're done with it. So.
And speaking of Road S and Hay Camp, did Mr. Bunnell from Ironwood ever come in and get whatever he was going to need if they were to start
No.
cutting up there again? So we
No,
don't-
they don't have any private work up there right now. I mean, they're on
Okay.
Forest Service. That's, as long as they're just driving down the road, we won't have an issue. We did
Okay.
send them a letter, you know, rescinding our request for bond with stipulations of, you know, permits, proper access permits and things like that, and never got an answer back from him, but he did get it certified, so that's all taken care of.
So next steps is him. If he wants up there, he's got to come in to you and get the
He does. He needs to
application.
come get a
Okay.
permit to get his access permits and the things we asked for.
And then to do the proper flagging,
Flagging,
MHTs.
traffic control, safety signs and all that. Yes, sir. So, no argument, he hasn't protested, so I'm assuming that they're
That's
happy with
pretty
that.
standard on any road. That's
Yeah.
not.
Nothing
I mean, that
unusual there,
wasn't
yeah.
a request that was just arbitrary. That's pretty standard on any roadway.
So, that's it.
I want to thank you for taking care of Road Z.
That
I had
was,
a call Friday afternoon, and a gentleman said there's been some washouts out there, and Rob went out there and put some cones out. It was late Friday afternoon, so I appreciate it.
you're more than welcome. We needed them to. That's the third time this year they've washed out, so.
Well, I got to thinking about that, you know, you're thinking there, oh, gosh darn it, you know,
No,
that's a good problem. You know,
It
it
is.
means we have moisture.
it is. I just, from now on, I'm gonna put a T-post with the cones on it, sell this gentleman here, knock yourself out, call me on Monday, but it's getting to be so repeated.
Call you on Monday?
Yeah, yeah, or
Maybe
Tuesday.
calling other people before Monday, trust me.
But no, he's a great guy and patient as can be, and we'll just get it all fixed up, and you know he's ready to bring cookies and thank you, and then a week later we get another big rain and wash it out again. So he's been very patient with us. But you know what do you do? You know,
Yeah.
we don't have enough depth of road there to put big culverts in it. We could put a whole bunch of culverts in it, and they'd just plug up probably with silt. So, but we're going to work on that tomorrow. We're going to shoulder that up with some riprap and some pit run and make that where it quits doing that, or at least makes it better. So we've been so busy. This whole thing happened while we were chip sealing. You got 89% or 90% of your crew on a chip seal, and you got one little crew running around putting out these little fires. I'll tell you, there's a lot of little fires in the last month around here, so, so anyway, we're on it. After today, we'll be full crewed up and back out fixing these things, so, there you go. Is it?
Okay.
Any news from the other letter? Okay.
No, not yet. I'm going to get a response probably out today.
Okay.
And we'll see from there.
Okay. All right. See you guys.
Thanks.
I'll capture you this afternoon if we're out of here in time. Are you going to be around or?
What time is
capture
that? 2 o'clock?
I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe.
Well,
Sure.
we're going to be done with the chip seal, so it usually means we have some pizza and stuff at the end of the chip seal season. So we'll be at the Dolores Yard. So
We'll give you a call.
okay. So okay. All right. See you guys.
Yep. And an amendment to the agenda today. Bonnie's not in. so-
Bonnie's out?
Yep.
Okay, well then we'll move right straight down to Mel, the landfill. He is here,
Or not.
or not. Justin, come on down. I didn't want to rush you. Wow. All right, why don't you come on down?
You guys can tag team.
Let's get you out of here in a hurry.
Morning.
Morning, Justin.
Okay, so our attendance to date, 60,075 people. And our income, 65,074.99. This last month we had August 7th commodity giveaway, which went good. Had a set of car races August 13th and 14th, which also went good. August 14th there was a one-day barrel race. On the 26th of August they did a pressure canning workshop, which was the health department and CSU there in our kitchen. They liked that, so they're actually going to put on a few more of those. August 27th and 28th, car races went good. And then we had a two-day barrel race that same weekend, the 28th and 29th, that also went good. And we just wrapped up our high school rodeo. So there was a lot going on this weekend for Labor Day. Coming up this next month.
So, Justin,
ahead.
I got a question on the
Yep.
high school rodeo. Was that all 4 states or was it
No, that's just Colorado.
just our local,
Yep,
just local competition for this high school?
correct.
I got you.
That's the state of Colorado's. They do a series of different rodeos in different counties, and then they do a finals.
So did you fill all your stalls?
We did.
And how many did you have to tie
They
out?
ended up having, we didn't have to tie any out. We did
Okay.
end up being able to stall them all and either double them up. So we were able to get enough stalls up to do that. We were still short, probably in the neighborhood of 40 stalls, but I mean, we were looking at 372 horses or 71 horses, I believe they said. So that is a lot. That is 90 more than we had a year ago. So, which I guess is a good.
We got the smallest rodeo club we've ever had doing that. So Justin and them guys have to step up and do.
Why was it such an increase? Just because there were more people throughout the state that showed up?
Well, I think it might be a combination of two things. Number one, they did start allowing 5th grade to compete in this.
Oh.
Because
We
it
got a
used to be
junior
just
high.
the junior high and the high school, and this year they started allowing 5th grade. The second thing would be, it seems like everybody just wants to do something this year. Last year, everything was kind of restricted, and this year everybody's doing everything they can. So all our events seem to be bigger than.
Do it next year.
Yeah, and next year we might be back down numbers, or they might be
I
where
shouldn't
they're
have
at.
said that.
And there's a lot of contestants, I think, hauling more horses now too. They'll have, instead of using one horse for 2 events, they'll have a horse for each event. And
Yeah.
that ups the
Oh.
numbers of your horses. Some
Yes,
of them
it does.
hauling 3 or 4 horses.
And I'm not sure their exact numbers on RVs. I haven't really got to talk to them with that and coordinate that, so I don't know what their RV count was or anything, but
It was big.
there was a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But there always is. But next year, maybe at least they can take this and, coordinate a little bit better, and we can be a little more planned for next year instead of spur of the moment. But it went well, though. There wasn't no issues. We really had no problems on the facility end, so everything was
Looked
good.
pretty busy out there.
Really busy, yes.
Well, it was a good rodeo, brought a lot of people to town.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
Yes, it
that.
Pretty busy.
I was
Yes, it did.
busy.
Yep, 4 days, so.
One thing you might look at down at the lower arena is the rope and shoot. I just got a couple calls that said they kept hanging up or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we've had nothing but problems with that since they put it in. What they did is, the Ute Mountain Rodeo actually got that put in when they put in the new buck and shoots.
Right.
And they went to all those WWs. So that rope and shoot's a WW instead of a prevert. And since day one, it's just, so we're always playing with it. And it might be something we want to look into replacing. Of course, those things are probably $4,000. So I don't know if it's something we
Right.
just want to try to do right away, but yeah, it has been a problem.
And that was the rodeo club that changed all those, obviously.
They did change
do
those
all
out,
those.
yep.
The
They
Mountain
put,
Roundup, yeah, the pro rodeo.
yep, the pro rodeo. And we still have the old one that went there, but we do use it for other things, like we use it as an add-on shoot, or we take it and put it in a different place. So it gets utilized as well. But in the future, if they don't, want to replace it, then, maybe I'll look at replacing it, but it has been kind of a pain. It has, so.
So do they have a tech support for that?
And maybe it's something the Ute
Us.
Mountain Roundup Committee would look at, because
Yeah, I would think-
if it's not working for a high school rodeo, it's
Yes.
damn sure not gonna work
And,
for
and
a
I've
pro
talked to
rodeo.
them on that, and they work on it every year too, right
Right.
before their rodeo, so.
Just see what, yeah.
Yes, and I did talk to him this year about it and told him my concerns with it, and we had some issues with it, and so there might be some look into that. There might be. But yes. So
Sorry,
coming
I
up, this,
Messed up your month.
yeah, I know. This
September.
next month, we have another pressure canning workshop this Thursday out there at the kitchen. This Saturday is their commodity giveaway. September 15th to 18th, we have a yard sale for Pet Sakes putting on. It will be in the beef barn. September 16th is another one of their pressure canning workshops. 17th and 18th is a set of car races. That same weekend, September 18th, we'll have a True Western Roundup Rodeo. The 21st and 22nd of September, CDOT's going to come out and do a little rodeo. That's where they bring out their equipment and kind of play around with that. 24th to 26th of September is 3-day car races out at the racetrack. The same weekend is a big 3-day finals barrel race they'll run, so that'll be a big weekend for us as well. September 30th, another canning workshop. October 2nd, commodity giveaway again. The 2nd and 3rd of October, a horse clinic with barrel race. And then October 3rd, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes is going to have a little faith event out there in the outdoor arena. Last year was the first year they did that, and they liked that, so they want to do that again for their people. As far as the commodities go, I kind of looked into that after you asked last month on the what's going on with that refrigerator and freezer and whether that can be moved. I did get a hold of John at the senior center. He said it's possible, but I think we'd have to do an agreement with the church, because were they thinking about putting them, if they were to move them, the ideal location would be on that west side of the senior center. And I believe where they would position them would be a little bit on the property of that church right next to them. So he didn't think that they would have an issue if we were to move them. But we'd probably have to do some sort of an MOU or something of that nature.
Would it make sense too, because the last time we looked at those things, those are ancient. They're dinosaurs. Would it be?
There could be some issues moving them.
And that runs into the second problem, and I told Shaq a little bit, so I don't know if he got with you guys. I talked to Mike, and he said when they looked at moving them before, they didn't know whether they'd be able to make the trip. So if
That's what I'm saying. With as old as they are, Commissioner Suckla and Ertel didn't know the age of them either, but the power draw that they're using is probably substantial. So would we not be more beneficial to find a newer, better insulated unit to stick there and just DC these other two?
and you're probably right.
Because they are
Well, the gas is in there. Sometimes if you start losing gas, if you move them and they lose their gas, some of those gases they're not making anymore.
Right, so we could
Yes.
just exhaust them, professionally, get them done and get rid of those units out there. I mean, I think that would probably be the better
I think so,
option.
too.
And then that way, most of those people have a hard surface parking lot that they can come to. And it's right
And
there
then the
where they need
ones
to
that
load
are,
and unload.
the ones that are left out there, if you were to put new ones in town, and we can put it in the capital budget for next year, but then you could rent out cooler space during hunting season if someone needs to hang something.
I'm all right with that.
My only concern with moving
There
to
we
town
go.
is security. You know, vandalism, break-ins, we've had quite a few of that going on here
Uh-huh.
in town.
I don't,
Well, I know that the one freezer they just, or the freezer unit they just worked on and had to just put I don't think they put a new compressor, but they bought a good used compressor and put on their unit.
Yeah.
Because the old one went out, and it's got newer Freon in it. That old one still had, the old cooler unit still has, you know, R22 or whatever that is, I believe.
Yeah,
Which, yeah, I don't think they would.
19 and 22.
Yeah, if they evacuate that, they're not putting that back in,
No,
I
it's-
imagine. So they would probably need to put a new compressor and all that stuff on
is
that one.
that something that Jonathan and Justin need to coordinate? I mean, really, you just house them.
That's it. That's all I really do is house
Not really
them.
your babies at all. I
If
mean,
we're buying a whole new unit, Justin doesn't need to be involved in it
No,
at
I think
all.
it's really just a conversation we need to
Yeah.
have with Jonathan, and where do we put it, and get something that's more efficient than these two dinosaurs that are,
Mhm. And then I do know the other thing that Mike was thinking about as far as placing them over there is they would be outside in the elements that, you know, they might need some sort of a cover. That would have been the other concern.
I think a nice blue tarp with some duct tape.
Blue? Be willing to go blue?
we're not, don't let them drag you into the weeds.
Oh, I'm not.
Okay, we'll have a conversation
Okay.
with,
That was kind of their
Jonathan.
concerns. And then I know John said that they would have to try to find, you know, space to store their dry goods, of course, as well, if they were to move everything over. Because they use that little building that's part of our shop to store their dry goods, which is about 5 pallets worth. So they'd have to find, you know, something at the senior center to do that. But that was just their concerns when I talked to them about all of it. So I just figured I'd let you know if you guys hadn't heard nothing.
okay.
Thank you.
Other than that, that's all I got for you. Unless you guys got anything for me.
Nope,
Thank you.
all right,
Thank you,
thank you,
guys.
Justin. All right, now we'll bring
Anybody else want to come forward?
Mr. Jarman up.
Scroll the last page, please, Shaq. So currently, we're way ahead of what we had planned for the year, which is good, of course. We haven't built the carver field or anything. I don't have a whole lot for you. I do have a couple bids for a new compactor, and one thing you might consider, talking to both companies, if we wait till next year to order one of these, you're looking at another increase due to the price of metal going up. So that's something you might want to think about. Power Equipment Company, Pico, the BOMAG machine is exactly the exact same machine we have now. They're at $541,853.
Does it work?
We just got it
It's
fixed.
not exactly the same machine you have, right? I hope it works.
We just got our BOMAG machine. The final drive did finally come in after 8 weeks of waiting for it. So between the final drive and the new starter for the machine, and the mechanic, that was a $35,000 repair on that machine. But it is up and running. And that machine has probably close to 11,000 hours on it. It's used every day, 6 days a week. So
That's 3 years old, right?
Oh, no.
5.
We got that in
2016.
2015.
Is it 5?
It came in 15.
15. Yeah,
So it's 6 years old.
Cat came in with a bid, but the problem with the Cat machine, if theirs is quite a bit cheaper. It's at $516,579. With the Cat wheels, which nobody likes, they don't compact. You don't get the compaction compared to the BOMAG at all. Cat has come out with a new wheel. It's called the Cat Diamond Wheel. It adds $42,000 to that cost. But talking with some other landfills, if you buy a Cat machine, they recommend a Karen wheel, which competes with BOMAG's wheels. That adds $110,000 to that machine. So that makes it almost $100,000 more than BOMAG's machine.
So they're not apples for apples for your bid?
There's no way to do apples to apples on this.
No, there's not. So that's kind of where we're at with those two bids.
Well, tell them the difference in warranties.
Talking with Bill Masters, there was a mistake on this bid. It's supposed to be 6 years on this one as well,
Oh,
with
okay.
BOMAG's.
Never mind then.
So their warranties are very close. He had a error when he made this deal. It's supposed to be 6 years, just like BOMAG's. But BOMAG's warranty is 9,000 hours in 6 years. And obviously with the machine we've got, we've used it and they stood behind it. So it's been pretty good. Can't complain with that. And if you want to sit down sometime and go through all the deal on that, but consider maybe going ahead and ordering one this fall for delivery of next year.
What is their delivery, 6 months?
What did it take
Probably.
us last time? It took us about 5 or 6 months to get it last time, because depending on which machine we'd go with.
Yes, and last time they had to bring it in from across the puddle.
They will again.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're probably
So
looking at
this
double
year
that
you're
time
probably,
If you order it now,
April.
it's doubtful you'll pay for it until next year.
Yeah, it'll be next year before we pay for it.
probably
For
this
sure.
time next year.
Probably.
Well, hopefully not.
Yeah,
but
hopefully
it could
not,
be.
because,
Hopefully by the middle of the year.
yes.
Well, I mean, if they're out of parts on something on it, whatever, just have them deliver it anyway. We got the parts on the one we got sitting there.
Hey,
Just
So,
don't do that.
obviously, you have all this funds in your budget anyway.
we do.
As an enterprise, so,
The budget you're seeing there is just what we've done this year. That does not show what we
No,
have
that
in our
doesn't.
bank account.
right.
We do have the funds available to outright buy the machine.
However, it has not been budgeted, so we would have to do a budget amendment.
To order it?
No, but before the end of the year, we'd
Yeah.
have to do a budget amendment.
They're gonna require
It's in
payment
next year's
before-
budget.
They're gonna require payment before the end of
No.
the year?
No.
I don't
Probably
think
not
so.
until delivery is typical.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we won't be dealing with it until hopefully June or sooner, but doubtful.
Correct, right.
Okay.
Some of the other machines down there, we just had to send off our 924K back to Wagner. Rear axle's going out of it again. That machine is getting a lot of hours on it. Something we may look into in the next year or so is trading that in on a new 924 loader. The rest of the machines are in pretty good shape.
Where are you moving most of your machines at 12,000 hours?
That one's got about 12,000 hours on
10 to
it.
12,000 hours?
It does. The other machine, the 924G, is pushing 15,000 hours.
Oh.
But we talked about it. We'd kind of like to keep that machine. It's a long reach machine and it works exceptionally well for a backup. And it doesn't have all the tier 3, tier 4 and all that on the motor. So it's a lot easier to repair and keep. And we don't use it a whole lot, mainly use it for compost, turning and stuff like that. But if we do replace our 924K, we would like to go with a machine like that with that longer reach. That shorter reach just doesn't work as well for us. But that's something we can look at in the future. On a phone conversation with Ian and CDPHE on the restrictions on Carver Field, I think we finally got that straightened out and are moving forward with that.
Yep, that's right. We had a Zoom meeting with the Assistant Attorney General and somebody from CDPHE last week. we're going to move forward with getting title commitments on a couple of the properties down the Carver landfill, and there's another property down there. It sounds like there was an intention to get it all done, but then there was some confusion. This was back last year, I believe, or maybe
Yeah, it started
before.
last year. We were trying to get the restrictions put on the Carver field, and the Attorney General got involved, and she got mixed up on the piece of property and was trying to put the restrictions on another piece instead of the Carver field. And that's right when John was quitting and everything, and now we own that piece. So now we gotta have the restrictions on both pieces, and we're trying, Ian's getting it all done at one time.
Yep, and I've been in touch with the Assistant Attorney General, and so that process is moving forward at this point. We just need to get the title commitments. That's the next step, and so we'll get to work on that this week.
Okay.
And hopefully that'll be done forever.
Yeah.
The plans are into CDPHE for the Carver composting pad and hazardous household waste that we're trying to do down there, waiting on them. That's just a waiting game. Don't know how long that's going to be. Our foreman, Mr. Nelson's completed his composting school. He started 3 more huge rows down there, so we're going to have a lot of compost for next summer.
Good.
Are they up to temperature?
Oh, they've been up to temperature. They got hot fast.
So you'll have enough water to finish them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll probably be done in another week and a half, maybe.
You should have water.
So that
month.
meets your 15-day requirement, right, for the temp?
We do. It's 15 days time and
Above
temp,
131.
but we do 21 just to cover, make sure it's covered. So, working with U.S. Forest Service on a deal shack, put us in contact with the tires at the breakwater at McPhee. So working with them, maybe bringing a shredder up. It's going to be up to the Forest Service on that. If they want to bring a shredder up here, we're going to go ahead and shred tires this year and help split the cost of this machine. They're going to look into it and see no more tires than they got. They may just take all that apart and bring us the tires, and we'll postpone shredding until next year. So I don't know on that till I hear back from the Forest Service. But if they want to shred at the lake, I told them if they'll make it 12-inch minus, we'll take the shreds for free because we can put them to beneficial reuse, and then we can help with the cost of the shredder, which would help us get our tires shredded too. So until I find out, I don't know anything else.
Okay.
And that's all I've got.
Okay. Question, gentlemen? Okay.
Sounds good, Mel.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mel.
The reason the stuff came up about the tires needing to come out of McPhee that were part of the old breakwater is a concerned citizen contacted CDPHE about how awful it was for the water quality.
And they've been there for how many years? 20?
Since they
That
started.
was the
Since they
breakwater
started?
back when
No, I
Balfour
know.
had the marina down there. So, God, it's been, what, 30 years?
So what will they use for breakwater?
We've
They
looked
haven't
at
used
a
that.
couple different wave
Well, wait
eaters.
until we get in our budget discussions, Mr. Stevenson.
We actually took that out of our budget. That was
Correct.
a big portion of a budget one year, and we actually viewed a couple different types. So, anyway, that's another discussion.
You can move it to the House Creek side where there's no wind and you don't need a breakwater.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mel.
Okay, moving right along, we're gonna go to unfinished business. Our IGA approval for the dispatch center, Shaq.
So if you remember a couple months ago, at this point, we had some back and forth about adopting
The IGA and the city
IGA.
was gonna get us the numbers, which the city has given us all the numbers. We've all seen those.
They
So-
have, and so they need to know where we're at so they can move forward with their budgeting process. So if we do this, we will also need a resolution appointing somebody to that board. And obviously, the clear choices would be the sheriff or the undersheriff.
Correct.
So the sheriff had given his opinion last time that if you sign this IGA, that you no longer have options available to you, but you don't get to participate in the board unless you sign the IGA. So.
So did Steve have any other questions now that he's seen this IGA along with the numbers?
Well, this is the exact same IGA that he's seen the whole time.
I know, but we didn't have the numbers from the city. That was the biggest hiccup, is we didn't really know what was being budgeted and how are we going to be charged for all the calls? Because we still are the largest user of that dispatch center.
Correct. We are still the well, it goes back and forth between us and the city.
Well, yeah.
I mean, depending on the year and the call volume. That being said, he was not at the last meeting. I'm sure he has got this in via email, but I have not received any comments from him.
Okay. And, all right. Questions, comments?
I don't have any.
No.
I know, Ian, you had the chance to look it over too. Anything that you...
There was nothing that jumped out at me. I mean, this was something that John had looked over. I looked over it again. I think it's pretty straightforward. I don't know all the history with the sheriff's concerns. I don't know if it's something that we need to get him the numbers before we make a decision or not. But that would be my only.
I think the
concern.
sheriff had all the numbers too, Shaq. I think he was on that email that we all got.
Let me just double check that he was on the email, but
We've had those now for a couple months. They got those back to us by the end of the week, just like they said they would. Here again, we have, the only other option we have is to go with Montrose, and it's gonna cost us
Twice.
twice
It'll double
or
our
3
cost.
times. So we-
and it puts you in an awkward spot because you're the 911 authority for this one.
I mean, by having representation on the board, you have the ability to change, modify, amend.
Right.
And with those in here, we can get all the accounting that goes on with this.
Correct. Which was the issue that we had
Yeah.
before, because we didn't have it.
Right. And oversight.
Yeah. And now that we have it, I think, so that we're good with what we said we would do, I think that
Yeah.
we should probably move forward. Anyway.
If the sheriff doesn't want to participate, then what? I mean, if he doesn't want to be on this board,
Well, I mean,
I think he said that he would be on that board earlier, if I remember, but
I mean, certainly if he decided he did not want to be on the board, we could appoint another representative. I mean, we're not locked into using the sheriff.
it only makes sense that he be there, though, or somebody
Correct.
from the
He's-
sheriff's department.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it would obviously have
Largest
to be
user
somebody.
of
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know whether we should appoint him till we at least call him and ask him and make sure, so we don't have to.
You could approve the IGA this week, and you could do the resolution appointing somebody next week.
okay.
Okay.
That
let's
makes
do
more sense.
Yeah.
And then we'll get with Steve.
So you'd still have to approve the IGA.
Okay. I move we sign the intergovernmental agreement for dispatch services throughout Montezuma and Dolores counties, including federal agencies.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to sign the memorandum of understanding between the intergovernmental for dispatch services throughout Montezuma County, Dolores County, Colorado, including federal agencies. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next check, we have the voting equipment that came before us last week. For Miss Kim. Kim, do you have anything that you want to add to that? For the sole sourcing? Was the only question that we had, I think.
So Shaq and I actually talked about the I always say that wrong, the procurement policy. I always say that wrong, I apologize. We had a discussion about it, and we looked at Section 3, source selection, under 3.2, sole source. It says it's occasionally necessary to purchase supplies, services, or construction items without going to bid, or that only one firm is in a better position to provide. Examples of potential sole source purchases, services include state bid, engineering, or other professional or consulting services, items for resale, and matching existing equipment, which is, this basically matches our existing equipment. So we did look at that, and then I wanted to let you guys know that I had talked to several different other businesses, several different companies about this. I didn't make any kind of notes or didn't keep any kind of record of exactly who it was or what it was, but some of the things, I can tell you some of the people that I talked to, but some of the things that they told us was that it doesn't work with our current software, our machines are too large for your county, and we don't work in Colorado. One of them was in Washington, and they said, "Why are you calling me?" I said, "Well, I'm just looking." But some of those companies were Kodak, Galeris, True Ballot, and Reliable. So, but that's all I have. Shaq asked me to type this up and kind of present it to you guys, but I didn't have a chance to finish it Friday, but I have what I have. So.
Okay.
Well, I think the key point here is that the software
Correct.
is what matches up,
compatible
and so it
with
certainly
what we
falls,
So
falls
the
within
sole
that.
source through the procurement policy has been satisfied?
Yep.
Okay.
I do have the contract here if you guys want to look at it or sign it or approve it or whatever.
And I have looked through that contract as well,
I think
and
it's just for the, we can
The
accept it
purchase
and
of
get her
it.
to go forward with it now.
You have looked through it again?
I have, yeah, I looked through it before last week's meeting, and it looked fine to me.
I would make a motion that we approve this sale and purchase agreement with Runback Electional Services. I don't see an amount.
It's, here we go. It's $60,500, this one.
In the amount of $60,500.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the proposal from Runback Election Services for our clerk and recorder to purchase a machine needed for her elections in the amount of $60,500. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And so when you see the clerk's budget going up under licenses and stuff by this amount, that's why. For future years.
The $10,000.
Yep.
annual.
Okay. That is it. We'll move to our attorney's report. Mr. McLaren?
Did you have another deal to bring up there?
I'll do it in my report.
Oh, in your report, okay.
Nothing really additional, certainly working with Mel on getting the restrictions on those landfill properties, and so that's in progress. We do have a hearing for the Road 41 case next week. That's a status conference, so after that we should have some idea of where the case is heading. My hope is that we can continue to work it here at the district court level on our obstruction of a public highway claim, and so I'll certainly update you guys on that. It'll be a couple weeks, but since the status conference is next Thursday, the following week we have a So 2 weeks from now, we have a hearing for Mr. Belden. That'll be the initial hearing in the land use code violation matter, and so we'll move forward with that. And other than that, I don't have anything to update.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Shaq, I don't see James in here, so we'll go ahead and go to you. Does he have any report today? Or?
He does, and he's on his way in.
Okay.
So I sent you all, oops, that's not what I want. The payables and the check registry for July, and so we just need to approve those for publication. The payables for the amount of July for countywide, including social services, came to $3,973,387.15.
Okay, any questions, gentlemen?
No. Move we pay the expenditures.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to pay the expenditures for Montezuma County from period July 1st to July 31st in the amount of $3,973,387.15. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And then there had been discussion earlier about helping Mancus with ARP funds for next year to get fiber to their water tower. The discussion had been about using $100,000 to aid them. My recommendation to the board would be, rather than trying to call this broadband, which it is, that we just budget it and keep it under lost revenue that we're going to be missing from Kinder Morgan, because we have more discretion in the way we spend that. But Mancus wants to know, so they can do their budgeting, if we are committed to the $100,000 that was discussed. And so if we have that in the minutes, that will help them to give them something solid to budget from.
Okay. Questions, comments? I think, part of this is that they struggle a little bit anyway. And Mancus obviously is in Montezuma County, and it's part of our constituency, so helping out with this is not a big stretch, especially when it's coming through the ARP funds. And a lot of it is for water, wastewater, and broadband, so I think we've kind of already made not a formal commitment, but a commitment otherwise to go ahead and help them with this out of our ARP money or the more discretionary fund. So with that, that's all I have.
Do you need a motion and a vote on that to put it in the minutes, or how do you need that, Kim, so that they can have what they need to?
I would think we probably should.
I would think it would be best to have it reflected in the minutes with a motion.
Right.
It's more official that way.
So, I would move that we support the town of Mancus in their,
Just project to the water.
project to the water and fiber in the amount of 100,000 through our ARP monies
In 2022.
in 2022.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to assist the town of Mancus with $100,000 from our ARP funding in 2022 for the upgrading of their water tank tower expansion project. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I don't think I need to sign anything here. Okay.
And then, I emailed the commissioners, but to let you know and let the public know, Representative Bobert's, assistant Naomi Dobbs will be here using this room if the public or the commissioners or any of the municipalities want to reach out with any concerns or bring up any issues to her. That'll be October 7th from 3 o'clock to 4:30. If the commissioners plan on all attending at the same time, I'll need to public notice that. If you guys just bounce in and out at different times, I don't think I need to notice it.
I would probably notice it just in case we end up here at
Okay.
the same time. I don't think it would be, whether we are or whether we're not,
Right.
makes it cleaner.
So again, October 7th, 3 o'clock to 4:30, if you want to be in touch with Congresswoman Bobert's representative. And then Joyce Rankin from the Colorado Department of Education, a group in town asked her if she would present about what's going on with education. She asked if she could use our room for doing that. That would be October 5th at 6 o'clock p.m., just to let people know that that would be happening. And then just let the commissioners know that Sarah Kuhn from the Veteran Services Office did get somebody hired, so that department is back up to fully staffed. And that will conclude my report.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Dietrich, stand back up and come on down.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning.
I guess the first thing I wanted to lead with is the resolution that we've got for the 30 by 30 initiative that's coming forward. And so we've got a draft resolution. I don't think we need necessarily to make a decision on this today, but I have a draft that's been prepared that we can review. I did include some information on the use of conservation easements as part of the tool for that initiative. And then I've pointed out also that the deficit in public lands really occurs east of the Mississippi River, and in a lot of ways, if every state was required to contribute their 30%, I think this thing would probably die on the vine pretty quickly, because it doesn't appear that there's any incentive to do that east of the Mississippi River at all. So, given that kind of statement, I guess everybody, if this thing moves forward, should probably be doing their 30% within municipalities, within within each unit of the National Forest, BLM, military reservations, everything the federal government manages. And they still don't have enough land to make that 30%. So it's 100% clear that there will be a conversion of private lands either into the federal land base, or at least within some type of a restriction of the type of activities that can happen on private lands, probably through a conservation easement or some other tool like that. So we do have a resolution that we can review, and we can either take a look at it today for signing it, or we can kick this down the road to next week after everybody has a better chance to review it. So.
And James, we did, just so everybody out in YouTube land and in the audience knows, we did send a letter opposing 30 by 30 to Congress, hand-delivered to Congresswoman Boebert when she was here in February.
Yeah, that appears to be the case. She did take the original signed copy, yes.
No, that's correct.
Yeah, and the other thing is too is just to educate the people. I mean, look at what this really asks and what it states. We did send this. I pulled this up, or actually had somebody pull it up. I think you, James, for me this morning. This has been sent back a long time ago when this thing first started even being talked about, and it sounds like it's heating up more since ex-Commissioner Leckel is out asking for resolutions from our municipalities. So again, like Shaq said, that has been sent off, and why don't we give us some time to read this? I haven't, obviously, this was just prepared for us. You guys good with that for next week?
Yeah.
Yes.
Under
If you
unfinished
wanna
business?
Send it to us.
Okay.
And then that way we can display it. Does it basically have the 10 bullet points or our conversation that we've had in the past week of the things that we were looking at?
Yes, I believe everything should be in there. We should double check it, but I believe everything is in there, yes.
Okay. All right.
There
very
actually
good.
may be more. So we've got a request from La Plata County Commissioners from our municipalities to support a movement that she's supporting. Is that what I'm understanding?
It was a former La Plata County Commissioner.
Okay.
She's no longer seated. She had served her
Okay.
term. That was presented at the Dolores board meeting. Shaq and I were over there 2 weeks ago, and that's where they're asking. She was asking for their support as a Dolores board. We did give a presentation Monday morning, the following Monday, to basically ask them to do their education on it and really look at the other side before they signed a resolution. So I don't know if that's forthcoming or not. We'll see in the next.
All right, well,
in their
we'll wait and
next
see.
board meeting.
And I forwarded all of that information that you sent to the Mancus Town
Okay.
Board and stuff so that they could see our side of it and
Okay.
stuff.
Very
So
good.
I think, Shaq, you said you sent it to everybody too, right?
I did.
So they all have it. Dolores has it, Cortez and Mancus, and they were all part of that meeting
Last Monday.
Monday.
Okay.
So that has been, pushed out to the municipalities also.
Okay. Well, there's a lot to consider here, so it's good that we're hearing both sides of this.
Yeah.
And want to certainly make sure that our side of it is voiced also. Yeah. So I guess that was kind of the main thing I had to discuss today. I did want to let the commissioners know that I've been working with the engineers on the Paso Mesa Verde Trail. We are looking at pushing the underpass further to the west into the fairgrounds. And part of the reason that we're looking real hard at that is it provides better access to the Phil's World Trail Park because we've got so much infrastructure on the south side and also the arroyos and things of that nature that we're going to have to work our way around. After reevaluating that landscape out there, we're thinking the west end of the fairgrounds may be an area that holds more potential. The other side of that is that the terrain falls away more steeply on the south side of the highway there, and of course when you're putting an underpass in, drainage is going to be a really big thing we're going to have to worry about. But falling away steeply like that and right into the McElmont drainage may provide better drainage in there and reduce some of the engineering that we're going to have to handle that type of situation too. So just want to let the commissioners know we are evaluating that. We're also scheduled to meet with the Central Federal Highways Commission, the folks that are going to be working on the Mancus Trail section. That'll happen not next week but the following week. And we'll go out there and rewalk that whole piece with them and make sure we've got the value engineering that we need. There is one property that's right near the entrance, or right near the junction of High 160 and the Business 160 there at Mancus, that we think if we could pick up right-of-way easement on that for the trail, that we could probably reduce some of the engineering on that. Basically what you could do is avoid having a gigantic retaining wall. And so we're going to evaluate that and see if we can't negotiate with the landowner on that and see if the landowner is open to it. I have talked to her in the past, following the requirements of the federal guidelines for property and easement acquisition. You can't say too much. You can't talk about prices, nothing like that. All you can really do is just see if they're willing to talk to us. And so I've reached out to that property owner, and they appear to be willing to talk to us. So we'll have to wait for the CDOT approved or certified negotiator to move that forward, if that happens to be the path of least resistance for us and what we decide to do. So I guess that's pretty much it. We've got several meetings coming up this coming week. I will be out of town next week. I do believe that we're going to have a water discussion coming up on that week. One thing I did want to leave with the commissioners, is the notion of trying to work with our state legislature to maybe revamp some of the water law in the state. The notion would be to try to tie the water to the land, which is not a new concept for us. I think we're all very well aware of that, but that seems to be something that would be a useful part of that discussion if there's a way to fit it in.
Okay.
Unless the commissioners have anything else for me, I guess I'll make it a short report today. So.
Very
Thank you,
good.
James.
Thank you, James. All right. We'll go to the Commissioner's report. Mr. Lindsay,
All right.
you go first today.
Took a few phone calls, had, like I said, talked to a gentleman. We went out and I contacted Rob, and he went out and fixed some problems on Road Z. I did set in on a listening program that for opioid abuse, and there's a series, and it's quite interesting. Also listened in on Shaq's conversation with our grant writer and Pete, is it Pete up in?
Patrick Rondinelli.
Yeah, and the possibilities for grants and types of grants for this area, which was pretty informative. Other than that, didn't have much else going on. But kind of on a personal note, over the weekend, it came to light that our congressman, the Republicans, were trying to read into the congressional record the names of the military personnel killed over in Afghanistan, and they were gavelled down. So, with that, I'd like to read into the record of those personnel that were killed. Sergeant Johnny Rosario Picardo, 25, of Lawrence, Massachusetts. Sergeant Nicole L.G., 23, Sacramento, California. Staff Sergeant Darren Hoover, 31, of Salt Lake City. It's kind of close to home. Corporal Hunter Lopez, 22, of Indio, California. Corporal Dagan W. Page, 23, Omaha, Nebraska. Corporal Humberto A. Sanchez, 22, Logansport, Indiana. Lance Corporal David L. Espinosa, 20, Rio Bravo, Texas. Lance Corporal Jared M. Schmitz, 20, St. Charles, Missouri. Lance Corporal Riley J. McCollum, 20, Jackson, Wyoming. Another Western boy. Lance Corporal Dylan R. Marola, Rancho Cucamonga, California. Lance Corporal Kareem M. Nakui, 20, of Norco, California. For the Navy, Navy Corpsman Maxton W. Soviet, 22, Berlin Heights, Ohio. Staff Sergeant Ryan C. Noss, 23, Corrington, Tennessee. And those are the people that were killed and weren't allowed to be, names be into the record. With that, September 11th is around the corner this weekend. September 12th has been designated Patriots Day. And it led me to an article, which I'll try and bring up here. And I don't know how I got there or where it comes from, but it kind of struck me that during World War II, lipstick became a sign of patriotism. And it was a bright red lipstick, and it was reportedly hated by Hitler. And women flooded factories and battlefields in the 40s wearing red lipstick, which was kind of neat. And it was a sign of patriotism and bravery. And what really struck me was the name of this lipstick. It's Montezuma Red. And it later became Victory Red. So I think Shaq ought to be wearing lipstick come next week. With that said, I know that there's a Patriot Parade Saturday. Get out there and not celebrate, but honor those who were fallen. Thanks.
Okay. Commissioner Stevenson.
I had a ton of phone calls over the weekend. It wasn't much of a Memorial Day or a Labor Day weekend. A lot of them regarding the 30 by 30. To everybody watching, we are in the works of getting our resolution done and get that passed next week. A lot of calls on our employee handbook. We're gonna go talk to the road department this afternoon and put that to rest and explain what, why, and how we done that. Other calls about noise ordinances and stuff in the county, and just lots of calls this week, so that's about it.
Labor Day, it's a time to labor, I guess. Everything that these gentlemen have already stated, so my report's going to be actually relatively short. I do have, Commissioner Stevenson stated, you know, I was in a meeting on Thursday. The vaccination becomes another huge political issue. And I think that President Trump did a good job when he did Operation Warp Speed. It was for the people that want a vaccine, and you should have it, and you should have the availability of it to yourself. I think it's out there. But we've got to start getting on with life. So the ruling that CDPHE did, the 6-1 ruling last week, for what they're going to do to the public or to the health facilities. Remember, people, you have a right to a religious belief, and you can use that. So we personally basically ask the hospital, you know, we don't want to see people losing their jobs or being forced into that potential shortcoming because they choose to not get a vaccine. So please remember, you do have a choice, and we are behind you and hoping that nobody gets pushed out of anything specifically. And remember, you do have a religious belief that you have to utilize for moving that forward. But if you want one, go get one. They're there. They're available everywhere. And let's see, other than taking a lot of dealing with basically day-to-day issues like Commissioner Stevenson stated, it was 4 days away. And with that, I'll conclude my report. Anything else for the good of the county at this time, gentlemen? Okay, well then I would accept
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this September 7th meeting. Actually, before I do that, Commissioner Stevenson and I will be on 9/11 at a meeting that we're presenting at the
Mancus Library.
Mancus Library on Saturday, so make sure we have that posted also, Shaq.
That's for the League of Women Voters?
Yes.
And I think it's in the morning Saturday, Mancus Library. I think it's from 10 to noon or 9 to noon.
I think.
So we'll be over there talking to that group of people. And with that, it's been moved and seconded that we adjourn this meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.